He's Mike Dubusky. You're listening to ABC News.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Hi, this is Kevin Piper with Piper's Auction Company. Piper's upcoming September auctions include 600 acres in Stutsman County, 140 acres in Grand Forks County, 289 acres in Cass County, 709 acres in Trail County, 160 acres in Ransom County near Lisbon, and many more land and equipment auctions in Barnes, Ward, McLean, Renville, Towner, Walsh, Morton, Burleigh, and Burke counties. Call Piper's 877-700-4099 or view all these land and equipment auctions at pipers.com.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
Oh my God! And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. I want to thank everybody for joining us on this lovely afternoon. Kind of cloudy out there. A few peaks of sunshine, peekaboo sunshine we like to call this. Temperature 70 degrees and a light breeze blowing out of the east-southeast. Joining me today, our wonderful, talented Ag Director, Bridgette Readel, who looks like she's finally off the road. Congratulations.
Back in my office. Thank you. It feels good to have returned, but covered some country and a lot of states recently.
Yes, you did. And for the most part, like the bad weather, it kind of missed you this time.
Am I going to curse myself?
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully not. We do have some pretty, cloudy weather out there, I guess.
Welcome to our Here We Grow field.
Whoops.
Our soybeans are getting...
That's not the right one.
Oopsie.
We do have some clouds and a little bit of sunshine mixed in. We're going to see pretty consistent weather over the next few days. Temperatures remaining in the low 70s. There is more rain in the forecast at the end of the week, and we were out at our field today, Bridgette, filming another episode of Here We Grow. And hats off to Michael. He said this one got knocked out of the park today, so it should be interesting watching this once Michael gets that uploaded. But I was talking with Jim out there. He received a little over an inch of rain. He said it all soaked up pretty well, but they still needed to dry out a little bit before they get out in the fields, and he was hoping possibly the weekend or sometime next week, assuming we see enough dry weather. So crop looks good. Jim was thinking 45 to 50 bushels on our soybean crop. So what did you I went 50. Justin went way high.
I went in at 42. Yeah,
Ooh.
Justin's at 62 or 65. I went in at 42 because, when our spring started out and we were going to be late planted, we didn't know what our rainfall was going to be, as no one did, right? So we're all trying to kind of take some guesses here. Mm-hmm. And that's really how farming is. We don't always know what's going to hold us for the summer. And surprisingly, this is where we're at.
Right. And, as Jim was saying, it's a little bit, it could turn out a little bit above average. And
sure.
So that's good news. And like I said, if you haven't followed along, we've been raising a crop of soybeans with the help of one of our farmers. And we're going to donate the proceeds to the food bank here. So that's great. That'll help them out as well. And it gives us a little education on how to farm and how it's not as easy as some people, as they're driving by the interstate, may think it really is.
There's a few more technical things that have to go along with just putting some seed in the ground, right? And granted, can't control the weather, but there's a lot of other variables we have to work with. Right.
And Jim also was passing along on this episode too. And I know you had mentioned something, was it the other week, Bridgette, that, when our farmers are out harvesting, and and let's say you're traveling some of these back roads, cut them some slack. Jim was even saying he's had times, and you said this before, where cars will drive under the headers. When the headers are racing, they're driving. They'll either go around or they'll drive under the headers. That just sounds
that's dangerous.
That sounds absolutely. Let's not
do that.
Yeah. There's a thing called
if you have
Darwin's theory on that.
Well, and if you have a combine where you're sort of on the side of the highway, right? So what's going to happen is that header on the inside of the lane is going to be higher on that side. And folks think when that header's raised up and they can just be in a hurry, they can zip right underneath it.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Oh. We don't want folks getting hurt, whether it's the combine operator or someone in a passenger car. So just want to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. And Jim said, pass along that, once there's a turnoff, they will pull over to let you, as much as they can, to let you around. So have patience.
Yes, they will.
Have patience during harvest season. That's all we ask.
Please, that would be great. And so is Jim going to get his wish? Because I just was getting some messages from listeners over by Findlay. They're not going to be in the field yet tomorrow either. They're hoping for sunshine and wind. What do you think?
Well, the wind will come on Thursday. We'll pick it up a little bit tomorrow, but it turns really windy on Thursday. Winds will be ramping up about 30 miles an hour out of the south-southeast. So that will help. We'll see more sunshine on Thursday too. But then more rain comes back into the forecast for Friday. So it's kind of why, right when we dry things out, all right, maybe then we'll get in the field the next day, and then it's going to be raining on Friday. So,
okay.
Yeah, right. But the weekend looks good. The weekend will dry things out, and it will turn a little breezy. And then
good.
The start of next week, we could be dealing with some more rain. So not seeing any heavy rain like we saw with this last system. Again, some areas down around Elbow Lake picked up 5+ inches of rain. I mean,
yeah.
And Jim was talking to one of the farmers down there, and he said, oddly enough, there's no standing water, even with 5.
Yeah, it's all gone in.
Yeah, it's all, that's great.
Yesterday, as I was coming up north from South Dakota, you could see water in the ditches north of Lake Wahpeton, but I don't think it's going to stay there very long. It had just recently rained there. So I think a lot of that is already going in the ground. So people are going to feel better about that. Yeah.
In the Wahpeton area, I mean, they picked up, 2-3 inches plus of rain. So it's we need the moisture, but
we do
kind of the timing of it. And so I posted I'm going to be posting an article today. You could check out our Weather and Ag social Facebook page. So the sun has now set in the North Pole, and that means the new LRC cycle is about to start, and the new cycle will start approximately right around October 7th. So we've got about 10 days.
Looking at my calendar.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait.
7.
Wait.
7
you said
days.
October 7th, and it's September. Good. Okay. 7 days. Yep.
Yeah. We still have about a week away. And so we'll be watching and you can watch along with us. So watch what the weather patterns do starting October 7th, and follow along how they're, what's the weather like during the month of October? Are we going to be warm and dry? Will we be stormy? And this will go into November as well. How do the weather patterns fold out during those 2 months? And we will, once we see that cycle come back, whatever that weather pattern is around October 7th, that's when the North Pole goes into total darkness. That's when the new LRC cycle sets, and we'll kind of see what the weather patterns are like around October 7th. And when we see that same upper level weather pattern reemerge, then we know we have our cycle length set, and we can start putting out forecasts through the winter and into the spring and summer. So last year's cycle length was, I believe, right around 51, 52 days. So we'll see if this year's is just as long, and we'll see how that pans out. I know a lot of people want a nice warm, dry fall, all the way into November. Well, that would not bode well for next year. So,
right.
And El Nino seasons, and again, that's just one piece of the puzzle, are typically a little warmer than normal here, and with snowfall pretty close to average. And last winter was kind of brutal. So if we can get a little break from that,
kind of, Dean. Really,
yeah.
that was a lot. It was a lot. And I have lived here my whole life. I generally don't mind winter. I can get past it, but I just got tired of driving on ice all the time.
Right.
Every time the wind blew and it blew all the snow across the road or whatever the case was, it just got old.
Yeah, and we're looking at a pretty nice week to 10 days. I don't see any big cold outbreaks in our neck of the woods through about the 7th or 8th of October, and then we're starting to see some signs of a change, but it's a little fuzzy, I guess, if you will, from this stand. I don't see any big dumps of Arctic air or cold air. I do see some cooler air coming in from Canada that second week in October, and that's when we could see our first widespread frost or freeze, and that's about on target. Even Jim, when we were talking out of the field today, he's like, you know what? The majority of our crops, we could use a good hard frost. He goes, that would really help things out. Why would that? I didn't even bother asking Jim. Why does that help out so much? Why now?
Okay, so if you have any green left in your plant, that's essentially going to kill it. So that makes it easier for harvestability. So if we got a frost, that means everything is boom. We're at maturity. We're no longer waiting for some of the plants to dry down.
Gotcha.
We're there, and then it's time to start running combines or other harvest equipment out there.
Okay. That makes sense. So yeah,
we're getting close.
We're getting close. Yeah, I think a couple more weeks for our first widespread, because some areas have seen a light frost already, but our first widespread killing frost or freeze probably still a couple weeks away. So fingers crossed. I like a nice extended fall.
And an extended fall would be great. If I've heard several people say, "Well, why are we getting rain now?" Because there's a number of folks that say, well, how come we didn't get all this earlier in the season? It's probably just the weather pattern that we are in. And if it gets a little wet in the fall, that's going to delay our harvest. It's going to drag things out a little bit longer for us.
Right. At least it's not snow. Not yet. So that's good news.
We are not there with snow. We are not ready for that now. No thanks.
Absolutely not. We're not using the S word. Not just yet. And we've got another special guest today. Bridgette, you want to
We do.
go on that?
We're going to talk with Warren Moe. He is from Oaks Truck and Trailer. So this is not about an advertisement, but how do I know about Warren? Well, Warren helped pull out my brother's farm equipment here a couple springs ago when we had a really wet spring. This was actually on a side hill with a spring running out of it. The air seeder got stuck. Well, after working for multiple hours to try to get it unstuck, with to no success, a call was made to Oaks Truck and Trailer. They've got some specialized equipment to come out and not only help take care of trucks, like semi-trucks, but also terrogators, rogators, sprayers, self-propelled sprayers, air seeders, combines, grain carts. Warren sent me about 10 emails with pictures. It's sort of a who's who of the worst wrecks. I mean, we're talking like Hall of Fame stuff like this. It was pretty impressive. So right now, we're going to get Warren all lined up so that we can talk with them, because this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to see how they do it and answer the questions from Warren. So stay tuned. We will get him lined up and be right back.
Fats and feeders down sharply. Hogs weaker on the day. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Risfet with this market update. The live cattle complex is seeing significant losses across the futures complex today, as its contracts can't seem to attract any traders' interest. Right now, the spot December contract is being pressured to the point where support levels in the current sideways trading range are being pressured, and closing below support could be alarming to traders. The biggest bear seeming to add pressure to the market at this point continues to be our economy's weakened state and the looming concern and likelihood that interest rates will continue to creep higher. No cash cattle trade has developed yet, and it's likely that the market won't see much interest until tomorrow or Thursday. Box beef prices are lower, choice down 28 and select down 72 with a movement of 77 loads. And the feeder cattle complex is also trading anywhere from $1 to $4 lower as the market comes up short and finding any support so far today. Even though corn prices are trending lower too, it's unlikely that the market closes higher, as there's simply too much outside pressure hovering over the cattle complex at this point to expect anything different. Now, the lean hog complex was more aggressive at the day's start than what it currently is, but without virtually any support from the cash market, it's hard for traders to turn the contracts higher on just support from cutouts. Also adding a little pressure to the market today is the fact that on Thursday, another quarterly hogs and pigs report is set to be released. Now, that report should add clarity to the market long term in regard to what to expect after Prop 12. We'll get a look at the livestock numbers. This is the American Ag Network. Corn is native to the American continent and was unknown to the rest of humanity until Columbus arrived in the New World in the 15th century. It took less than 100 years after Columbus's discovery for corn to be introduced to farmers in Asia, Africa, Europe, and the Pacific Islands. After wheat and rice, corn is the third most cultivated crop in the world. The four nations that purchase the most corn from the United States are Mexico and Colombia, who use it as a food ingredient, and Japan and South Korea, who buy it mainly for animal feed. Around 1/3 of the corn grown in the United States is eaten by livestock, another third is used in the production of ethanol fuel, and the rest is either consumed by humans, exported to other nations, or used industrially. Now that sweet corn, that's the variety that most Americans grill or boil for cookouts or just eat straight out of a can with a spoon, accounts for just 1% of all corn grown in the United States. These farm facts brought to you by the American Ag Network. Let's get a look at the livestock numbers. Live cattle October down 182 at 185.15. December down 242 at 188.80. February down 245 at 193.45. And the April live cattle, they're down 242 at 196.65. Lean hogs October down a dime at 81.42. December down 47 at 72.05. And the February lean hogs, they're down 52 at 75.57. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Ristvet.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
The screaming goat, it just never gets old, does he?
That is just a hearty welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. And it's a hearty welcome from Dean. You can audibly hear me rolling my eyes in the background.
Now, that's only on Tuesdays.
That's true.
Hey, wait.
Stop.
Wait a minute.
It's not.
Hold on. Let me look. Hold on. Yeah, it's cloudy out.
Whew, good. Because you know what that means? That gives me time not to have to put on a tinfoil hat. And I can talk about the fact that two of our Here We Grow sponsors, people that helped get you to the field this morning, Dean, for our 20 acres of soybeans project, would include Titan Machinery. They are the local Case IH equipment dealer, and they provide best-in-class solutions to customers, as well as Invita, which is a nitrogen product that is brought to us by AB Seeds. And this nitrogen product does help us take nitrogen from the air that's readily available to improve the yield on our crops. That's better than talking about chemtrails, Dean.
Well, we'll get that on the last segment, because I know someone that's probably going to chime in. Just saying.
Fine. But meanwhile, I am so excited to have Warren join us today, and that is Warren Moe with Oaks Truck and Trailer. Warren has a great business going on down in Oaks for a lot of reasons. There's some pretty cool things that happen down there. And hello, Warren. How are you today?
Good. Glad to be with you.
Thank you for taking the time. I can only imagine how hectic things are at your place of business this time of year. So, all right, Warren, tell us a little bit more about Oaks Truck and Trailer. What y'all do down there?
So our primary focus is heavy-duty truck and trailer repair and maintenance. We handle pretty much all aspects of that. Many years ago, I guess we got involved more in necessity for doing some heavy-duty towing, which led us into recovery. And then we found there was people that would be getting equipment stuck out in the fields, and there was a need to address that. We invested in some equipment and a lot of training for myself and a lot of my people. And now we kind of specialize in off-road recoveries. So there's not much out there that we can't handle. We do a lot of farm equipment. 3 years ago, when it was froze hard, guys are out in the field combining corn all winter. We actually took out over 100 combines that winter because they'd break through the frost. The four-wheel drive tractors didn't have enough traction to pull them out. And so we were going out there with our equipment to handle that stuff. Since then, we've gotten some bigger equipment, actually a high-speed dozer equipped with a 60,000-pound winch, and that machine is pretty amazing. It is able to basically pull about 250,000 pounds of force it can produce in decent ground. So there's not too much that we can't do. We've never came back home empty-handed. I guess I can say that.
And if you're watching us, if you're watching us on live stream, can we go back to that one picture, Jacob? That one, no, that one right before that. That thing is bare. How in the world?
There are so many pictures.
How
it's
would you
unreal.
get that out? So how big is the equipment, Warren, that you use to get these machines out of the stuck mud? That's incredible.
So most of your farm equipment, we can actually handle a lot of that by just using one of our skid steer winches. And I believe you probably have some pictures of that too somewhere. But it's amazing. So yeah, we actually use the ground for an anchor. We aren't using the machine to try to pull on anything. We're just using that skid steer to bring that winch box out and the hydraulics to run the winch. And then we can do multiple lines, so that cable isn't just a single cable. It goes out through a pulley or a snatch block, and it can come back and forth as many times as we need, so we stay within our working load limits of all our rigging, and we can even attach them to multiple points. So instead of pulling on just one point on a piece of equipment, like planters, for example, we're able to connect lines to the wings of the planter as well as the front of the tractor, and connect the lines together so we got an equal pull on everything, so that you aren't breaking a wing off a planter and leaving that in the field or something catastrophic like that.
I shouldn't laugh, but that's actually true. So let's probably back up a little bit about the equipment and the safety and so forth. For those who are listening who are not familiar with how you try to unstick a piece of farm equipment, the chances that you wreck something are tremendous. So and Warren, maybe you want to dive in here, whether it's a hitch, bending a frame, etc., that's very true, correct?
Yep. So basically, if you get a piece of farm equipment stuck, we have ways and calculations that we can figure out approximately what it's going to take for amount of force to pull that machinery out. And a lot of times that equates to 100% of the weight of the machinery, or it can be up to 150% if you're moving a lot of dirt, or say you got a track machine that the tracks are locked up on, it doesn't run any longer, then it's going to be 150%, possibly even a little bit more than that. So some of this stuff, we'll use a quad track, for example. They're about a 55,000 pound machine. If that is stuck, you're going to need to put 50,000 pounds of force on it to get it to move. Quad track in normal conditions can pull about 2/3 of its weight. So one quad track pulling another quad track, mathematically, it should not be able to pull that out. Sometimes you're able to gain a little mechanical advantage by having an operator in the stuck tractor, spinning those wheels, spinning those tracks. Otherwise, what people do that gets them into trouble is they start yanking on stuff. So you hook up a strap, you hook up a rope, and you start generating these tremendous amount of shock loads trying to get stuff to move. And 9 times out of 10, everything goes fairly good. You get the piece of equipment out, but it's that one time in 10, a shock load. For example, that same quad track at 3.5 miles an hour generates about 4 times the mass in shock load. So it's generating about 200,000 pounds of shock load. That's more than a lot of your ropes, straps, rigging can sustain. So that's where you get the problems where ropes and chains are breaking. You got stuff going through windshields, hurting or killing operators. That's definitely what we don't want to see.
That's real.
Julie,
right.
Mark 1. Julie.
So we can go out and basically do the same job, but because we're pulling with winches and it's really slow and controlled, we typically end up putting about just as much as needed as to get that machinery out. So instead of the 200,000 pound shock load, we'll put the 50,000 pounds of slow, controlled, steady pull on it, thus reducing any potential issues for damage or rigging failure. Pretty conscientious about staying within our working load limits for our rigging and all that stuff too, so that nothing too dramatic happens when we're out there. It's actually kind of boring. Things are moving really, really slow, but it's really safe and damage free.
And Warren,
oh man,
yeah,
wow.
What is the biggest piece of machinery that you've been able to pull out, and what is your success? I mean, first off, farmers are very, very intelligent. How are you getting stuck out in this might sound like a simple question, but how are they getting stuck out in the field, and how often does that really happen?
Some farmers farm in different areas, and others, ground conditions have a lot more to do with it than anything. In our area, we see a lot of springs, a lot of soft spots that may pop up one year that weren't there the year before.
Okay.
That definitely has factors in it. Some farmers have bigger equipment. A lot of times we see people going out trying to knock down the cattails and the sloughs and stuff. And of course, trying to get a little bit greedy, trying to get those little bit extra acres. Sometimes you just got a big piece of equipment, the ground's soft, and with no warning, all of a sudden you start spinning and down it goes. A lot of times we don't get called out there until all other options have been exhausted.
Which means there's multiple pieces of equipment stuck. There's a lot of stuff stuck in the field when Warren gets a call.
And Warren,
a lot of times.
Real quick before we have to go to break, but has there ever been a time where you couldn't get them unstuck, and what did they do then?
No, like I said before, we've never came home empty-handed.
Okay.
We've pulled out 100,000 pound machines, and sometimes it's taken multiple winches to do it, but we've always been able to make it happen.
That's great.
All right, folks, we are going to be back. It's bottom of the hour at 1:31 in the afternoon. Don't go anywhere. You're going to want to continue to listen to our conversation with Warren Moe from Oaks Truck and Trailer. You can call us at 701-293-9000. That's the Red Wing Shoe phone line if you have any questions. But above all, hop on the live stream. You want to see the pictures that we have of stuck equipment that Warren successfully taken out of the field. So we will be right back.
Our daughter was doing poorly in her last two classes of the day until our neighbor suggested it might be her vision. Eyes on 45th fixed that for her.
Academic performance is so tied to good vision. Back to school is on, and Eyes on 45th are taking many appointments for students right now. Get them in and make sure with Dr. Tufte. Eyes on 45th, 1801 45th Street South in Fargo. Get your students' vision checked soon. Eyes on 45th in Fargo.
Pucklet Chevrolet GMC believes you deserve a reliable pre-owned vehicle that fits your needs and budget. Car Bravo at Pucklet Chevrolet GMC gives you an expansive inventory of Car Bravo certified GM and non-GM used vehicles. Confidence and peace of mind come standard as every Car Bravo certified vehicle includes a 126-point inspection and a 6-month or 6,000-mile warranty. Choice, confidence, peace of mind. Feel the used euphoria at PuckletValleyCity.com, North Dakota's Car Bravo headquarters.
Good afternoon, I'm Tom Tucker, WDAY News First. Voters head to the polls today to decide whether to give West Fargo Public Schools the go-ahead on a $147 million bond referendum. If approved, the money would be used to fund 9 different projects. That includes expansions for existing schools and building a new elementary school. Moorhead City Council members are sharing their proposed 2024 tax levy and budget. We're told the proposed 3.5% tax levy increase will equate to a roughly $3 million increase in revenue for the city. About $1.5 million of the levy increase will be used to increase salaries and add 9 new city employees. The North Dakota Health Department is reporting an increase in the number of COVID-19 cases. They're also reporting an increase in other respiratory viruses, including RSV and the flu. Older populations and infants are both at higher risk of more severe symptoms of the viruses. And a lack of rain could take a toll on fall leaf viewing season in parts of North Dakota. With 36% of the state in drought, the lack of rain stresses trees and could lead to an earlier and shorter window for fall colors. The state's tourism and marketing director recommends seeing the best colors in the Turtle Mountain area, Medora, and the rest of the Badlands region for some great viewing right now. Tom Tucker, WDAY, and WDAYRadioNow.com.
Hello, Fargo. This is John Adams, your host of Talk of the Town. My show is designed to highlight everything great about the city, the valley, and the country in which we live. I've had the great fortune of meeting, working, and living with wonderful people in the Fargo-Moorhead area, and I want to bring their stories to you. Human interest stories, sports, timely topics that affect all of us in the Red River Valley. Talk of the Town with John Adams. Tune in for positivity and fun.
Imagine it's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are taking you for a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
Hey, welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Again, want to thank everybody for joining us. 1:36 in the afternoon, and our guest today is Warren Moe. And boy, Warren is just, I'm in awe at the equipment and how he gets these stuck tractors, combines, whatever it is, out of the field. And Warren, I guess we've got a boatload of questions. We've got a couple of emailers that have questions. And if you'd like to join us, and if you have any questions for Warren, give us a call on our Red Wing Shoes hotline, 701-293-9000. That's 701-293-9000. So, Warren, one of the email questions that came in was, what time of the year is worse? Is it planting or harvest?
Each one of them kind of brings their own challenges. It just depends upon what the weather does. We get some harvest seasons that get awfully wet and damp. Then we start getting the big combines and start finding the soft spots. They get to be a little challenging, but also in the spring we get the big 60-foot planters. We've had those in so deep that we got the mud going over top of the toolbars. Those definitely get to be challenges too. At that point, a lot of times we rely on the farmer to supply us with some additional anchors because the ground conditions won't allow us to anchor as much force as we need. So then we'll put what we call dead man out there. We'll use another one or two of their tractors and run a cable out to the stuck piece of equipment and through a snatch block or pulley and back to that dead man. That way the anchor force is split equally between our winching equipment and the tractor that's parked there.
Wow. Now, Warren, do you do this just locally, or have you had numerous out-of-state requests for you to come help?
So typically most of the stuff that we do is fairly local. We have probably been up to 80, 90 miles in pretty much every direction. Sometimes we get specialized requests for rather large industrial type equipment. We had a vertical drilling machine that basically sunk out of sight overnight. That was probably one of the biggest jobs that we did. That was well over 100,000 pound machine. And it basically was sinking in the hole that it drilled overnight.
Wow.
That was challenging. But after 3-4 hours of work, we had it up and going. And other than a computer screen that got wet because it was in the water, the machine was still able to operate a week later. So a lot of successes out there, I guess.
Holy cow. Okay. I have this whole list of questions I'm going to have to ask. First of all, do you feel like you get called for equipment that's stuck versus an accident, like the road gave away and a sprayer rolled over, or something, a piece of equipment fell off a truck? Kind of what's your proportion of those?
So by far, we get a lot more calls for stuff that's stuck out in the fields. That happens. This year was not as busy as what it was last year, which wasn't as busy as it was the year before. But there's accidents out there too. We respond to probably 2 or 3 sprayer accidents every year, where a sprayer is making a turn off a highway, gets struck by a vehicle that doesn't see a turn signal on or something like that. But the stuff in the mud, we play in the mud a lot more than we do the accidents.
Oh man, just the photos that you have. And I mean, first of all, I want to say, geez, I'm sorry, you haven't had as much business the last 2 years, but then if we get a bunch more rain this fall, your phone is going to ring. Or if we have to go into late harvest and it snows early, I don't think things really are going to slow down for you much, Warren.
Probably not.
So, okay, as we think about some of the stuff that you use, you mentioned a skid steer with a winch and then also a high-speed dozer. Could you review those again? What are they? How you use them?
So the skid steer winch is commonly referred to as a winch skid. The ones that we use here are actually built and manufactured out of Watertown. The name of the company there is Performance Winch Skids. They were working so well for us that we decided to become a dealer for them. So they're just an attachment, goes on a skid steer. The tracked ones definitely work better. They don't really require any additional hydraulic capacity or pressure than standard. But they are heavy. They're about 3,500 pounds, give or take. And they have a blade on the front, so when you start pulling on them, the blade bites into the ground and provides the anchor force that you need. Our high-speed dozer is made by John Deere. We manufactured and came up with the boom and the winch system on that. It's basically uses the same concept as the skid steer, just on a lot bigger scale.
So, Warren, I don't know that you want to give us a dollar figure for this, but I did have a texter ask, do you charge like a per hour or a per job type of fee for folks when they give you a call?
Yep. So when we go out and do this, you usually got at least one operator. It kind of depends what it is. Sometimes we'll take 2 guys out. But you'll have one operator, of course, in a semi truck pulling a triple axle trailer with the equipment on the back. And that includes the rigging also. And typically we're charging $500 an hour for that. We also charge for our transport time. That's time that we can't use the equipment when it's in transport. A lot of times we do give some discounts off of that for the travel time, but $500 an hour is our standard charge for that.
Interesting. And Warren, you said something earlier about you have to be very careful because you don't want anything to snap, and that could go right through the rig, and obviously that has injured people before. And where does your team go to train for safety for that?
So we are all myself and all my guys have been through many different training programs, basically in the towing and recovery industry, which is a lot of the same principles as what we're using here in the off-road situation. Some of the training is provided by Wreckmaster and iTech, and there are a couple other ones out there that you have to travel a little bit further for. But the basic principles and physics of it are pretty much the same no matter where you go to.
This is so impressive.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so when you're thinking about some of the the perspective that people have about pulling out their own equipment, you mentioned the cabling and how you can then work its way through the equipment so you don't just pull on one singular point. I can imagine how you do that on like a grain drill, or excuse me, an air seeder on the seeding tool. But how do you do that with like a combine or something like that? Do you still work the cabling through the piece of equipment that way as well, or what might that look like?
So whenever we're doing a recovery, it doesn't really matter whether it's a pull behind implement or a combine. We try to pull on the part of that is going to have the least resistance. So a lot of times on a combine, they are engineered. A lot of them do have the pull cables on them. If they don't, they have hookup points on the rear of the combine. And as all the farmers know out there, the rear of the combine, especially if you have a head on it, is actually fairly light. And so you'll see us hooking on the rear all the time. We'll put the head on the ground in float because we aren't going to cause any damage by moving it super slow in reverse, and you're just taking that much more weight off the front wheels. When we pull the combine from the rear, we're also typically pulling at an angle so that we're going to slide the rear end of that combine a little bit. At that point, we're taking one of those front wheels out of the hole that it dug. And once the combine gets straight, now we only have the other front wheel that we have to pull on. So we greatly reduce the amount of force that's needed doing some of the techniques that we do.
Oh man, Warren, you could create your own video YouTube channel just about your worst wrecks, because I'm liking the pictures I'm seeing.
He'd be a YouTube sensation. Seriously.
Oh, man.
I mean, who doesn't want to watch it? You know, it's like tractor pulls, except in slow motion.
Warren, go ahead.
The only issue that I have with a lot of this is that a lot of people don't really appreciate having some of their worst days portrayed on the internet or anywhere else. So I guess I can't blame them for that.
We may have to protect the names of the innocent. I understand what you're saying. So, yes.
Hey, Bridget, Jacob, do we have a caller? I think we might have a caller that has that has a question for Warren. So, Jacob, so let's. What other questions do we email or do we have any more email or questions there, Bridget?
Actually, I want to make sure that Warren reiterates, how do people find him, and then we might be able to bring our caller online so he can ask Warren his question.
So it's we're located right in Oaks, North Dakota. Our phone number is 701-742-3342. We have an internet presence, a website also. You can get a hold of us there.
That's awesome.
All right. And we have Todd on line one. Todd has a question for Warren. Todd, what's your question today?
Yes, so my question, Warren, is what does it typically cost the aggravated producer that has a piece of equipment stuck, whether it be a tractor or a seeder or a combine? How much does it typically cost them?
Okay, so when we go out to do this at $500 an hour, We've been out to places where the farmer's been working on it literally for 2 days with 3 guys, 2 tractors, an excavator, all kinds of stuff. And they broke every chain, every strap they had. They broke every chain and strap that their neighbors had. And they finally call us. Typically, we come out and it takes us a lot longer to get there than it does to do the job. So typically, we're only unloaded in the field for 20 minutes. Is pretty standard. So depending upon how far our drive time is, a typical bill for a planter, combine, something like that is in the neighborhood of $800 to $1,000. So that's a lot less expensive than the 3-inch rope or strap that was just broke.
Or wrecking a piece of equipment, trying to get it out unstuck, that type of thing. So, oh man. Warren, and first of all, Todd, thank you for the question. Greatly appreciate that you listened and called in. And Warren, thank you for joining us. This was fantastic. Really appreciate your time today.
Glad to be here.
Thanks, Warren.
All right, folks, we will be right back to wrap up Weather and Ag in Focus. We want to make sure to touch on headlines and the weather. Stay tuned.
Attention all growers and ag retailers. Tired of losing the war against wild oats? It's time to bring in the big guns. Avedex and Fargo herbicides from Gowan, USA. These Group 15 herbicides are your ticket to controlling Group 1 and Group 2 resistant wild oats and suppressing brome and ryegrass. Don't let these weeds invade your field. Take charge. Contact your local ag retailer today and get your hands on Avedex and Fargo. Go. Always read and follow label directions from Gowan, USA.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
You've all helped support MyPillow and their employees in these tough economic times. Mike Lindell knows this and continues to give back to listeners with deals on his most popular products. You've heard me recently speak about the My Slippers, the Giza Sheets, MyPillow 2.0, and more. Great news. The MyPillow 6-pack bath towel sets are back in stock. The proprietary technology makes them extremely absorbent, yet still provides that soft feel you look for in a towel. The set comes with 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. Regular price $79.98, and for a limited time, you can get this 6-pack towel set for only $39.99 with promo code WDAY. That's 50% savings. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-875-0644 and use promo code WDAY to save 50% on the MyPillow 6-pack towel sets. $39.99 for a set. This deal will not last long. Enter promo code WDAY for this special and many more. The set comes with 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. For a limited time, you can get this 6-pack towel set for only $39.99 with promo code WDAY.
Farmers, when you get stuck in the field, make the call to Oaks Truck and Trailer. Pulling equipment out of the field can be dangerous. Why not leave it to the pros so you don't get hurt and your equipment doesn't get damaged? With 40 years of experience, Oaks Truck and Trailer is trusted far and wide when it comes to large equipment, diagnostics, analytics, and repairing farm equipment. Next time you find yourself stuck in the mud, call Oaks Truck and Trailer. Online at oakstruckandtrailer.com.
News Talk Radio 970 WDAY. Hi, meteorologist Justin Storm. Every afternoon, my forecasts let you know how the afternoon weather is going to go and that all-important ride home from work. In all 4 seasons, that's the reason you listen. Weather changes fast, and I'll give you the current conditions as well as what the evening will look like so you can make decisions on the plans you've made. Don't forget Weather and Ag Radio every day at 1 p.m. right here on WDAY.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. 1:54 in the afternoon. Temperatures 70 degrees under partly cloudy skies. It is Tuesday, and well, you know what that means. Yeah, we have John on line 1.
Oh, my God.
John, welcome to the show.
Well, if you didn't want me to call in, why did you light the WAG signal?
Good. That was Bridgette.
That was Dean.
She said she said it wouldn't be a Tuesday without John. Yeah, let's blame it on Justin.
I highly doubt that was Bridgette.
All right, well, we can blame it on Justin.
Hey, John, what did you think of all of the discussion about pulling out stuck farm equipment here a little bit ago with Warren?
Great minds think alike. I'll tell you, Warren ought to be part of our Wagmaster line of agricultural and home gardening products.
Yes, he should.
There you go. Well, today is
I'm telling you, in the old days, we used to buy those things called tank retrievers, and do about the same thing, but then the equipment got too big for the tank retrievers.
So, John, what you got for us today?
Nothing. I couldn't fly the drone this morning because it was instrument ratings only, and AI. The Spraymaster 10,000.2 version is not out quite yet. That one will have AI, so that one actually might be able to fly under instrument rules, so I can get out and lay chemtrails and do other fun things.
Well, it's hard to see. This is Chemtrail Tuesday, and we're gonna have to check. I've got a couple of pilot friends. And I'm going to have to check. You know what? I've seen it now on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I will check.
Well, that's what I told you.
Yep.
I told you this like months ago. Did you not get the memo? I said the more we've talked about it, did anyone notice the subtle shift to different days of the week now?
Well, typically anytime I get any emails from anybody named John, for some reason they always wind up in the trash bin. I'm not sure how. But I mean,
turn your spam filter off, or open a can of spam, whatever
works.
Oh, I vote for the spam, and then also we should talk about the weather. So, is this stuff going to clear out so y'all can go see whatever fake things you're seeing in the sky?
That's right. Well, we do
out where I'm at, Bridgette. I don't know where you're at, but it's clearing out. I see a lot of blue sky and no chemtrails. So.
Yeah. Well, give it time.
No, I'm not there yet.
The day is young, John. The day is young. We still have time. True. We still have time. John, thanks so much for calling, man. Have a great. And I've got something for you, John. I'm gonna have to deliver that here probably either today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. All right. John is gone. So, anyway, we've got as our lovely guest John was saying, it is starting to clear up a little bit. We've got more and more breaks in the clouds, and that'll kind of be the theme for the afternoon. We'll have highs today, low to mid, some spots mid 70s, can't be ruled out, with those winds out of an east-southeast direction at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Tonight, we could have a repeat of some fog, and some of that could be on the dense side as we bottom out in the mid-50s. And tomorrow, more of the same, kind of a mix of sun and clouds, a little bit breezier as winds turn to the south. We'll have highs tomorrow in the mid-70s, and then windy Thursday, mid to upper 70s, and more rain in the forecast as we head into Friday. Looks like about a quarter inch or so. Not expecting a whole lot, but we'd like to dry things out a little bit in some of those areas that picked up the heavy rain. And then the weekend looks really nice. We're going to warm things up into the 70s on Saturday and more than likely low 80s as we head into Sunday. This weekend looks much better than last weekend, so hopefully everybody can get out and enjoy it. So for our wonderful, talented Ag Director, Bridgette Readel, and myself, I want to thank everybody for joining us here on Weather and Ag in Focus. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.